The United Nations has declared a state of emergency, calling for immediate action on climate change. One of the first initiatives is to convene a meeting of an international multidisciplinary working group. The location of that meeting is Ottawa. Carleton University is asked to host some of the sessions of the meeting at the recently completed Urban Futures building. Dr. A is an internationally recognized climate scientist from Ecuador. She's been asked to join the working group and to travel to Ottawa. She leaves Quito via air and arrives in Toronto. When she arrives, she learns that her connecting flight has been cancelled and she decides to take the newly completed Hyperloop. According to the Hyperloop schedule, Dr. A will arrive at the Ottawa airport 45 minutes after departure. She boards the Hyperloop and is seated comfortably in the executive pod. She orders coffee as the Hyperloop begins to accelerate. However, before her coffee arrives, an alarm sounds. Moments later, the pod comes to a sudden stop and all passengers are asked to disembark through the emergency exits. Sources in social media suggest an act of sabotage. Over the next 2 hours, privately owned and contracted autonomous electric coaches arrive to ferry the stranded Hyperloop passengers to Belleville. En route, Dr. A sees a nuclear power station under construction. She takes note to review recent literature on the long-term storage of spent nuclear cells. In Belleville, the Hyperloop passengers wait for the regional train operated by VIA. The speed of the regional train will be approximately 1/5 of that of the Hyperloop. However, Dr. A finally has an opportunity to enjoy her coffee. The regional train arrives at the Ottawa train station at 6 p.m. There, Dr. A boards the Confederation line, finally operating after a prolonged shutdown for maintenance. She makes a change at Bayview to the Trillium line, and she is surprised at the number of privately owned autonomous electric vehicles still on the road. In Ecuador, all intra-city transportation is public or under corporate license. Dr. A arrives at Carleton University. She is now late for her first meeting and, being unfamiliar with the campus, she calls for a university-operated automated shuttle to take her to the Urban Futures building. Private and ride-hailing vehicles are not allowed to operate on campus. On the way to her destination, a cyclist, distracted by a voice message, drifts into the shuttle lane. Dr. A reacts by reaching for the emergency stop switch, but the shuttle has already adjusted its course. At 7 p.m., Dr. A enters the elevator in the Urban Futures building and asks to be taken to the main assembly hall. She is greeted warmly by her colleagues. Each of them have their own travel stories.